We get into our first matches of the Douyu Cup 2020 Group D today. The final day of group stages. Can you believe we've come so far? As in the top right-hand side, we'll start things off with the blue Terran player. This is Cure. And he is taking on, in the bottom left-hand side, a red Protoss player, Trap. And I feel like my audio is either a little bit too loud. I actually think the audio might be okay. It's just a little bit too loud in my ears. So I'm just going to try and edit that quickly, guys. I think it should sound okay to you guys, though, right? Like, it seems okay, seems decent. I think I take this down at like 85%, and that should just be the difference to make things a little bit more, well, just a bit better on my side. So that shouldn't have changed anything for you. But do let me know, because I've been having some fights with the audio again lately. All right, so do you see our probe setting up, and just going to be seeing a couple of SCVs coming around, getting ready to go. Command Center will start off into the natural expansion, so nothing too crazy there, as you do see the probe of Trap heading down the right side of the map. So heading down the right-hand side and looking to see what's going on there. Obviously, TVP, where Trap and Cure have actually met a few times lately, and I do feel like Trap has been getting the better edge of this. I will check in a few moments their histories, but Cure has obviously been one of the most hyped Terrans of 2020 just for his online performances alone. Then he kind of followed up in GSL Season 1, of course, and got to that final. So it's been really cool to see Cure really progress throughout the year, and now really is a mainstay in the top-tier Terrans of Korea. Stargate on the way up from Trap, as we do see this Reaper continuing out and around back over to the side. An Adept, he gets a shot off there, and the Reaper takes a little bit of damage. It's a little bit of damage so far. A couple extra Marines coming through. Command Center building up into an orbital. And if the Stargate opening is just going to be an Oracle for the moment, so just getting straight into the Oracle to start things off. So Oracle on the way. That's going to be out fairly shortly, as we do have the Stimpack. The factory now finishing. It's a very fast 2 racks from Cure, right? So second rack super quickly, very fast stim. This is almost, I mean, it is a 2-1-1, right? That is the build order. You know, sometimes you see factory, then the second racks. So it's not quite a 2-1-1, but this really is a 2-1-1 that we're seeing set up here at the moment. So that's kind of interesting, although it's a factory with the tech lab on it, so it's not going to be the reactor on the medevacs, so you're not going to get 2 medevacs out super quickly or anything along those lines. Okay, I'm interested. Definitely a startup that's leaves me intrigued in what's going to happen here, as this starport will lift off, move to the tech lab, and I guess just going to go into a Raven, right? It's the only thing that really makes sense. So Raven, then Stim early. Of course, you look at what Cure has seen this game, and the answer is not really that much. He did have the Reaper. It has been killed off since. Did the Oracles kill it off? No, it was killed off by the Adept, or the Stalker or something. What the hell killed this bloody... One of these Adepts did, right? There we go. This Adept killed the Reaper. So he doesn't really know too much about the Oracles until they show up, but he has his Marines well positioned, and because it's 2 racks, he has a lot of Marines as well, so he can fight that. And then I guess we'll see what he does off the Raven. Again, if you go to Tech Lab initially, if he'd known about the Stargate, he might have just gone into a Cyclone and a Viking, and that may have been a better way to do this. I mean, the Raven is obviously very safe with its DTs, but again, not getting that early scouting, definitely hurting there, as our 2 Oracles will head into the main, try to see what they can do. Revelation goes down, catching a few of those units, and just be able to keep track of those at the moment, as the Adepts all joining up in the center. We do see our Oracles continuing around into the main base. Combat Shield on the way up. A couple of these SCVs taking some hits as well. A couple workers going down. And we do see our Marines able to go and chase those Oracles up to the top right-hand side. So able to chase those down. The auto turret will drop, and Adepts coming in, getting 9 SCVs in total now. With the Stim, though, you lose a lot of those Adepts, and that's what's going to worry me, because going back across the map, there's absolutely potential for Cure to get a lot done on a counterattack when your opponent's been building a lot of Stargate units. On the ground, there are still only 2 Adepts and now 1 Sentry. So if Cure can get across the map, there is huge potential for damage. Let's see what these Oracles do as they make a move. They're going to go for the Combat Shield cancel, and that is going to be SCV's getting there a little too late. It costs him 1 Oracle, maybe even a second. No, the Oracle's going to actually fight that amount of Marines. They were low HP off the multiple stims. He will just not get one again. Oh my goodness. Well, the 2 Medivacs are heading across the map, and I truly believe that they can get something done here. No charge or armor or any upgrade or anything along those lines. As you do see, our Medivac's going to go into the main base, so they're going to unload over in this corner. Pylon gets picked off, couple of gateways unpowered. Seeing these couple of extra cells. Still trying to warp in as well. Sentries with the Guardian Shield up, and just going to be seeing a couple of them being picked away at. This just didn't do enough, right? Just the shield battery buying a lot of time, definitely helping there, and yeah, in the end, it's just not going to be enough from Cure at all to trap. I do like where he's at. You know, with this defense now, I feel like he's done good damage across the map. That 3rd CC only just getting started from Cure. Couple of Phoenix do get some shots off. This Medivac takes a few hits. The Raven coming forward there, and again a couple of Phoenix to try and see what they can get up to. We will see some auto turrets going down. It's going to be moving forward here. Medivac's bio continuing over this right-hand side again, so just up to the top. And again, the rest of this bio continue to gather up. Command center will set up on the 3 o'clock base, and combat shield now on the way. Next step of this from Cure apparently is just to be setting up and seeing where you can go next. Armor on the way from Cure in the back of the main. This factory number 2 coming in, and I mean, if he gets up to 3 bases, yeah, you know, looking at resources lost, I guess. He lost all the Oracles. He lost all the Phoenix. Well, most of the Phoenix. And that means the couple Phoenix that are left are really limited in terms of what they can do. Well, let's see what this fight brings us. We do have charge. We have the armor upgrade. We have what feels like the important parts of this. But I actually feel like there's maybe not enough Zealots to just overwhelm a bio army like this. I feel like this amount of Zealots needs some kind of splash. And that 1 Archon probably isn't going to do enough splash. As we have the bio continuing in, gets a probe. The Phoenix still flying forward. It's going to be seeing the Widow Mine is going to go off on the Phoenix, which do friendly fire the bio units a little bit. So kind of a sacrifice, though, because now you're losing out on most of the Phoenix. The Phoenix going to get blown up again. Well, it's kind of weird because obviously you're losing the Phoenix, but it is getting rid of Medivacs, and it is getting rid of this bio army. It gives Trap the potential to keep pushing forward. And that's exactly what we are seeing. Q again pushed all the way back up the right side. Some Widow Mines off cooldown, getting some Zealots that try to reinforce. Trap will have to stop chasing, but a bit of a weird situation there. A bit of a weird situation. As we do have this army now back over the left-hand side. 2-2 upgrade still building on the engineering base. Drilling clause is about to finish up on the factory tech lab as well. We do see the scan of Q going down. Seeing this army over on the left-hand side. But I mind going to get the observer as the scan comes in. It's a nice little scan, isn't it? Just pick off the observer with the Widow Mine shot, and here we go. Big stim. Widow Mines are going to burrow up. The Zealots have to back away. They don't want to fight those mines. And there's just so many Widow Mines. It's the power of not having had them cleaned up in the previous fight. It's actually crazy how much they're probably going to add to this. The Phoenix trying to do friendly fire again, and they get it. But again, where is the detection? Because the observer died, so we don't have a way to clean up these Widow Mines just yet. There's one observer on the map. Where is it? It is here. Okay, it's coming in. Is there a scan available? Can he get rid of the observer? He cannot. Saving all those Widow Mines a 3rd time would have been absolutely massive from Q, as we see this observer still hanging out overhead. Phoenix going to lift up these mines once more. Zealot still pushing through. And it's a lot of the Widow Mines picked off as Q going forward there, gets an observer, able to take that down. And here going to rotate back to the middle of the map. The Phoenix do get here, and the medevacs take a few shots of damage. Kua back into the middle now. And just rotate into a different direction. I really feel like these Widow Mines have been saving Kua, but now there's not as many of them. This trap comes in, a couple more Widow Mine shots, and we see a lot of these Phoenix continuing to fall. The Zealots will continue to take a lot of hits and look as though they will all be going down, and that's going to be enough for Kua to take the first game of this TVP. I really felt like, honestly, I loved where Trap was in the opening, but losing all the Oracles and then losing the Phoenix on top of that, maybe just left him with not enough, and then he didn't have the tech switch to really hold on in the follow-up from that either. And that's why I think this game... Nice, quick jump from the first to the second map is in the bottom left-hand side. We do have the blue Terran player. It is Kua. And the top right, our right Protoss is Trap. I think you just got to really realize how many Phoenix he made, right? Usually in a PvT, you kind of go to like... You kind of go to like 5-ish Phoenix and you stop and you start Colossus, then your third gas kick in, and then you go up into like a Phoenix Colossus kind of combo production. But this was just like pure Phoenix, and then he added like one Archon in or so. I just don't think he ever really got settled down. And how many Phoenix did he build? He'd already lost 2 at the point when he had then 5 more, and then he lost those, and then there was a few more again. And I think it was the amount of Phoenix he made that just then... It's weird, because then you've got to say, well, does he have the time to kind of swap into Templar Archives after already making that decision, or to get into Storm at least? And maybe not? But that's obviously a difficult one to judge, as this probe comes out down to the bottom left-hand side. So probe of Trap on the way to the bottom left. We do just see this gateway of Trap building in the main base. So that's on the way up. Probe into the natural, into the main. And just a little bit of scouting here early, of course, trying to see what's happening. Of course, Kua is actually opting not to SCV scout just yet. This SCV should SCV scout. He just wanted to make sure there wasn't anything he needed help with this probe for. Didn't want to pull this SCV until he was ready to build the command center. Just making sure he could handle the probe for the moment. That probe does take quite a bit of damage. The CC will now start a few seconds delayed, so it's exactly what you're hoping for with that probe, delaying the command center by about 5 seconds. And it's pretty much the most you can do, unless the Terran really messes up, doesn't have a second SCV there, or anything along those lines. A Nexus onto the natural. And our Adept already Chrono boosting out from this gateway with the Warp Gate on the way on the Cyber Core as well. And Kua will send the Reaper across the map to, of course, re-scout, or continue to scout. And once again, it's a pretty fast second racks from Kua, so very similar to what we saw in the first game. I wonder if this is going to be more or less the same build. Plenty of bio units early, you get that Raven out, and then you just kind of play from there. We shall see as this Adept comes in. Couple of shots on the Reaper, and the Reaper taking some damage is going to get pushed away over the left-hand side. The Adept continues to shade out down to the south, and Twilight Council now into the main base as well. Getting ready to go. A couple of extra probes on the way up. Warp Gate is about halfway done. There's our reactor finishing on the racks as this Adept shows up, and we'll go straight in for this SCV, but it saves itself, jumps in, hops back out, and this SCV will get up to the high ground, so gets up there, able to move up. I'm just going to be seeing the Adept and probe continuing to nibble onto this orbital command, so orbital continuing to take some damage right now. The tech lab will finish on the barracks, factory about to complete. There's a couple of extra Marines from Kua about to pop out as we do see the starport on the way. So he builds one Hellion. We'll see if he wants to try and use that for scouting. I imagine that's the plan. It doesn't really make sense to add multiple Hellions when you've already got 2 racks of units. A little bit afraid of the 3 Adepts though, so giving them a lot of respect and not minding from the natural as the Reaper. Does see the Twilight Council, so you get the scout that this is not a Stargate this time around. And there is the tech lab for the starport. So again, very similar to what we saw in game number 1 from Kua, obviously with a big change from Trap. So we'll see how this plays out in a little bit of a different direction now then. Sentry will set up. Just going to be seeing the pylon in the 12 o'clock position getting going as well. So ready for a third base in the next few moments here, Trap. Ready to place that down. as these adepts will make their way out and across to the top of the map. Well, Blink is continuing to Chrono Boost. Will be out here in just a few moments. Reaper and the Hellion continuing across as well. They go up into the natural, going to get in. Nice force field. There's a bit of damage will be done. First couple of workers now starting to drop. Stalkers will get here. And they will be able to pick that Hellion off. So Hellion will go down. There's the Blink about to complete from Trap in the main base. So getting that finished up. I'm just seeing a couple extra Stalkers warping in as well. So again, those extra couple Stalkers through. Stim pack coming up about halfway along. Raven is about to pop. And that reactor on the factory about to finish up as well. So finishes up the reactor. Stormfront moves over. Extra rack's going to move around. Takes a second tech lab, of course. Again, very, very much so what we saw in the first game. And that does give you the chance to start going across the map. And I wonder how this game will play out, because last game we saw Kira really had a moment where he could maybe have gone across. Now this game he's not going to be held back by anything, so he will find that chance to go across. But of course he will find the chance to go across in a scenario where his opponent is generally going to have more to help out with that. Marine will take the probe on the 6 o'clock base, and that's a nice little catch as Trap was just looking for some free information. Mortal continues to Chrono Boost on the Robo facility. The Warp Prism out across to this left-hand side. +1 attack on the Engineering Bay as the Raven is there. The Marines sat with it, and the Observer did take just a couple shots of damage so far. The Zealot's going to load back up into the Prism. They'll go out across into the left and into the main base in just a couple of moments. Combat Shield +1 attack continuing to build. Zealot's just going to unload and go straight into this mineral line as you see the few Marines coming in. The Zealot's going to lift back up and just going to be pushed back away up the left there. As you have our bio units continuing to make their way back down to the natural expansion. So Prism, definitely the scary part when you get those Zealots out. We've seen that really be a defining feature of TVP as of late. Just these consistent Zealot warp-ins. As soon as you get charged, you basically get ready to warp into the main base, and then you just never stop. And it's going to be what holds Kira back here, as he will get +1 attack and combat shield online in the next few moments. And a few Zealot sentries. Immortal setting up just on the 12 o'clock. There's our Mortal Chrono boosting out as well. Templar Archives continuing to build, and still just seeing the extra couple of gates also coming through. Conquest of Shells on the way up. Kira starts to make his way out onto the map. We're just going to be seeing Trap. Some of these Zealots back along the sides, and again, just moving around as best he can at the moment. +1 armor is on the way on the Engineering Bay, and both the racks going to be down in a moment or two. So really powering up to 5 racks as he gets to 3 CCs. Gets out to 3 bases. We'll see, and that's where to really start powering up into some other options. As this game, Trap is already setting up for storms, so the Templar Archives is already toiling with Chrono Boost. But this push will be good enough to take down a gateway and a Cybernetic core, so it's not a bad start. I mean, of course, Cybernetic core, one of the biggest losses. These two Medivacs should actually spot the Warp Prism coming in. Ooh, I thought it was a GG for a moment. I was like, Trap's just had enough. He's like, my Warp Prism's being seen and I'm out of here. That is a please pause. So we'll have a moment before we resume in this game number 2. Apologies for the few moments of getting this going. Sorry, go.
Game
resumed. There we go, we get resumed. Alright, so that's the feedback on the Raven. And that's huge. No anti-armor missiles or anything that can go down on this army now. 2 drops going around to that left-hand side. I feel like if those 2 drops flank in, there's some major potential. Trap is forgetting about the Warp Prism. It just sits there in the natural expansion even, so... Oh no, goodbye Warp Prism. Oh no, it retargets to the Widow Mine. He saves it. Wow, that was the last moment, but this drop now pulls Trap away. Battery overcharge onto the 3rd base to try and help out. I mean, This drop's just pulling you out of position, and now you're just going to run in. What are you going to do? You've got to fight through your own choke points. It ain't pretty. The Widow Mines are left to the right side, though, so missing the splash damage for this. The Warp Prism is found coming back across the map. He kills that off. Oh, Stalkers will get the full medevac. Oh my god, this was an absolute mess of a fight. Pretty much everything does die from Cure, apart from a couple empty medevacs and one or two running stimmed bio units. But what on earth just happened here? This was a bit of a mess all across the board. Probe's going down the natural. We've got Probe going down here as the Widow Mine's getting an extra kill. This Widow Mine's just going to walk into the natural as well. Why the hell not? I mean, this is just not what you expect from this in the slightest. He's going to get one Probe and the Zealots. As he will Cure defend his third base. Has Ghosts up behind this, so he's made a successful transition while this has been going on. And I think the one thing we've got to look at here more than anything else is the 1-1 upgrades. So 1-1 upgrades already on the board for Cure. Already up and running the Engineering Bay, the Armory in the back of the main. And we're just going to be seeing the rest of this from Trap continuing down to the bottom side. Zealots are going to blown up a little bit there. Bio stemming forward initially, and Trap wanting to move in. A couple of EMPs across this army. Immortals going to get hit by that as well. So the Immortals taking a few shots. The rest of this army from Cure setting up on the third base, and will indeed be able to scare this away. I mean, you hit EMPs like that and you're going to be in a lot of trouble, I think, as Trap. How are you ever meant to fight that? He's really trying to get up to 4 bases. In the end, he goes to the top left corner, and that terrifies me because there's a reason he wants this base, because if you take this base, you're much more easily able to get back into the main, and it's just everything's a bit more centralized around this point, so you can defend more easily. Once you go up here, I mean, a drop here or a drop here, and you're just fighting in 2 very different positions, and the Terran can really then start to move your army around and join up their army to make more happen. So yeah, it worries me a lot the way that Trap is setting up with his expansions, and it has been kind of forced by Cure, right? Cure has been building up and moving armies around and, you know, denying this space with the position of his own army. He's basically forced Trap to go to the top left corner, and I would be very surprised if he didn't do something to try and take more advantage of that. That's an EMP on the Observer. Good spot. That will be allowing him to take it down without the need of a scan. Another huge EMP hits all of the Immortals. Barriers and shields are gone. Hits an EMP on High Templar now as well. What is there right now from Trap? I mean, there are 3 High Templar. Okay, he has got 3 Storms. There's a Disruptor from the high ground. There's one more Disruptor there. He's going to land the Vikings to start pushing the Disruptors back. I like it. What's he going to get there? Really not that much. He kills one Disruptor. The other one has to keep on running. There's a High Templar trying to come out the main base. The Vikings will kill those 2. Those Vikings, absolute heroes so far. They are doing so much. They're killing probes and all sorts. They're going to block the Zealots from the main base coming down for a few moments. What is happening across the map? Some Zealots are going to be here, and they will cause issues for Cure. Something he has to go and focus on. He starts to lose SCVs. He stimmed back a good amount of units to go deal with this, but apparently they're still hotkey because they just turned back around. Oh, and he walks into the storm and he tries to get the Disruptor. He doesn't get the kill, though, and Trap is making this happen. He pushes this army away. Oh, Kiri's going to get cleaned up. This army turned back around. A little bit unfortunate. It was just not here for any of the fights. What an absolute disaster as the Bio army continues to escape away to the south side. We do have 2-2 upgrades on the way up from Cure, taking on the +2 attack, +1 armor of his opponent. Stalkers and Archons wanting to move in, as we will have Trap taking down a Widow Mine. Make that a second Widow Mine. And again, just going to be seeing the Bio units of Cure continue to move around. Now down to the bottom. Couple of Ghosts on the way out. +2 armor about to finish up, and we do see this army of Trap over to the far left-hand side. A couple of Ghosts leading the charge, and they're going to get the EMPs from the Immortals again. Nope, wasn't paying attention. Doesn't get any EMPs at all. And Trap is just going to blink forward now. Zealots run into the natural. I don't think Cure handles this, honestly. Just feels like he's losing out on the numbers that he needs. And obviously with the Zealots in the natural as well, he stims a load of units back to deal with the Zealots. So he will handle that, but then this third base is going to be completely forfeit, basically. This Disruptor shot is nice as well. Wow, he actually gets it before he goes down. Disruptors just keep on landing in this game. Cure has no option but to GG. And Trap will manage to take us to game 3 with some better fights on the tail end of this second map. Right, decide a map as we have got in the bottom... Oh, there we go. Bottom right-hand side. The blue Terran player is Kua, who... I mean, this entire series so far, it's been a little bit of, oh, it looks like Kua is doing well, and then Trap wins the game. Or Kua, you know, it looks like Trap's doing good, and then Kua wins the game. You know, it's just been, you know, first game especially, looked as though Trap had some initial good startup, but then Kua took it around. Second game, Kua felt like he was kind of controlling the game, but a couple bad fights in a row, some good disruptive shots on Trap, takes it to a 1-1 tied-up series. A lot of questions about when the playoffs for this event will start, and if I'm not mistaken, they are on the August 3rd, 4th, 6th, 12th, and 13th, I think? There or thereabouts. It's around those sort of times, so those are the playoff dates. It'll be 5 days of playoffs. Double elimination bracket to play through. Plenty of games. Gonna be a good fun time for all of us, I think. Very much so looking forward to it. As the Nexus goes down, the pylon will begin. The Cybercore in the main is still just on the way up, so no real surprises there for the moment. We continue to get this underway. Man send it from Kira into the natural expansion. We do have the probe at the front for a moment or two. And again, a little bit of moving around, a little bit of looking to see what is up. Not a lot really. You get to see the expansion. That's all you really want to see as Kira Trap. He doesn't see much either. He actually loses the probe to the Reaper and the Marine, which both stay at home for the moment, so a little bit of respect given. Right now, at least. The Adept shades to the natural, does not commit through. It's going to be a Twilight Council build for a second game on the run for Trap. So another Twilight Council, I don't think is too surprising. Just going into that Blink play, this is one of the really good maps to take 4 gates of Blink on. So if Trap would like to switch it up a little bit, that's absolutely going to be one of his options here. The Adepts do shade by into the back of that natural expansion then. So shade him into the back. Cybernetics, Cyclone is on the way out from Q. I was going to say, I said Psy, and I was like, Cybernetics! No, it's not the Cybernetics, it's the Cyclone. That's a side word. As you do see, second Rex coming in, so a little bit different from Q2. While this is 2 racks now, it's more along the lines of racks factory into second racks instead of racks factory. So Stim is a bit later. It gets you this Cyclone a little bit sooner, and that's going to be the difference. Now we have actually Cyclone and a bunch of Marines, which will just not kill a second Adept. Is there a possibility for Q to go across the map here? Probably not, right? I mean, you look at this and you've got to say, well, you know, Blink's going to be up soon. If you go across the map, Blink's going to be finishing. I think there's always going to be a defense from the Protoss there. You have a few Stalkers will join up on the front of the natural then. The one Adept out to the right side, and Kyo bringing the Reaper up to the top. So Reaper coming through the top. Adept is in position already to put some damage onto it, and the Reaper is turned away as the Forge and the Robo Bay are now on the way down. So very quick transition here from Trap. Doesn't even go third Nexus. Just continues to tech up pretty much immediately. So no third. So we'll be going for a later third, but the idea being that then you can go into that Forge a little bit faster, the Robotics Bay a little bit faster. And those are, you know, those are the tech structures which says that Trap just wants one really powerful army, more so than spreading his army thin and trying to go in a few different places. Probably even going to see a little bit of a later charge here as well, because trying to afford charge when you're also about to start Colossus, and in the realistic future you need to start up a extended thermal lance as well, you pretty much can't afford charge on top of that. And an attack upgrade or an armor upgrade. I imagine attack upgrade based on the fact that Stalker Colossus armor upgrades, obviously mostly for when you're playing a charge mob heavy style. A nice 4-stalker blink. Yes, 2 SCVs, not bad for some light pressure, which is obviously very low commitment. However, there is that kill on the observer, and that's always nice. The blink kind of reveals there is some form of high ground vision there, and means Q, double checks. Can he see the observer? Well, this time, yes, he absolutely can. And as he sees the observer, doesn't waste any time in sniping it down and getting rid of it. As there's a Nexus on the third base, along with the next pylon as well. A couple of Widow Mines just going to be popping out of the factory. Bio out the front will push the Stalkers back into the center. And this medevac, 2 Widow Mines inside of it. Well, they are going to go rotating and looking for a mineral line, which is open to be dropped. So, yeah, I've got their eyes out for whatever they may find. +1 attack upgrade on the engineering bay as well still. Here come our Stalkers continuing up to the north side of the map. The medevac goes boosting through, and we will see one Widow Mine burrows, another one. Oh yeah, that's actually funny because that recall actually loses him a sentry, so Widow Mine actually gets a pretty good trade out in the end. I think that's something which pretty much everyone would be pretty happy with. Extra Zealots, Central warping in on the front of the Natural. Going to be seeing this Bio army from Cure is on the front as well. Continue to hang around. A couple Vikings on the way up. Again, +1 attack. The charge upgrade. All the important bits and pieces in production at the moment. Yes, 3 workers here. Saves 1 Widow Mine again. And here continuing to do rather well with this in the early stages as this command center lifts up, moves out, will take the 3rd location. And again, I mean, in that regard, we've seen a very similar setup each game where Q has been, taking that 3rd base a little more slowly than his opponent has been, setting up for that. Fusion core is already building in the main. So that's very interesting because you're going into a fusion core this quickly, and that really says like, hey, I really want to make something out of this, I guess. I really want to go up into ranged liberators. And he is going to have double starport because he's building 4 Vikings at a time to make sure you can deal with the Colossi, or that's what he wants to do. So again, I imagine the next step of that is to just say, cool, time to go for the next step to that as well, which is add on ranged liberators, get those liberators out, and they're going to be really good. We don't get to see ranged libs a lot in TVP, you've got to really get to that kind of stage of the game, but it's going to be the kind of thing which should, I think it's the kind of thing which should bring you kind of to a point where you can really zone out disruptors a lot more easily. It obviously means you have to play a much slower game, right? You can't just go running around the entirety of the map when that's happening. There's this prism. Goes over to the far right-hand side. Bio army with the medevacs. Setting up as well over on the far left. Just going to see the Cyclone is going to be able to clean out the Adept, so takes that down. And to gain a few extra Liberators about to pop. I'm excited because you really don't see players going for like 4 libs, Liberator range all that often anymore. That really feels like something we've not seen kind of happen in a long time, really. Army of Trap up to the top, the Bio medevacs. Out on the south side as well, we'll have a command center already building just out at the front of the Natural expansion, and a bunker. Over to the right side of this orbital, Vikings going to patrol, and Zealots, Stalkers, Colossi, all making their way down to the south side of the map. Well, Disruptor is going to be popping soon. Gravitic Drive on that Robo Bay. Ghost Academy is already building as well here from Cure, so I mean, I say already, but considering he's gone into Vikings, then Liberators, the Ghost Academy doesn't necessarily need to come down till the 4th base is mine, but he's ready to go straight into Ghost as soon as he gets those gases up. That or he cuts Liberators because he's just already on enough of them. We're probably in for a long game here because Curious, got libs that should really be a position that's breakable here, as trap. It's going to be seeing this army back down to the south. This command center lifts off, will move into location. Stargate in the main. There we go. Liberator sieging again. The Colossi getting pushed back. Disruptor gets killed off there by a Liberator, so fired without being far enough away. Yeah, I mean, the Liberators work great on this map as well because you take 4 bases and every position on 4 bases is covered by 1 of 3 choke points, right? So the Liberators can just mass siege whichever choke point the Protoss player is threatening next. There is the Zealot run by into the 3rd, and that's going to be the way that Trap tries to do something here. Now, Will Secure is a little slow to stem these units across. That bunker does a great job of buying time, so, you know, the bunker basically tanks what could have been so many worker losses. I think to get to the stage where it's Trap, he's double expanding, and I love that because, you know, Kira basically says, hey, I've got an army that's going to hunker down and, you know, sit back for a long time. So Trap just says, well, I'll take advantage of that. I will just go for the, you know, extra base. And as I was about to say, the next step for Trap, it really is that time where you need Tempests. And we already see it as I'm talking about it. The Fleet Beacon and 2 more Stargates in the main base. So you need Tempests, right? This amount of Liberators, it feels like 4 to 6 Liberators. I think that's kind of the borderline of where you can be like, okay, actually, I can fight 4 to 6 Liberators with Blink Stalkers. You know, I blink them in, I target the Libs down, and that damage output, you know, it's a high cost on both sides. What the hell just killed like 13 more probes? Am I crazy? Double drop? Apologies, guys. I mean, it wasn't a double drop. I think it was just a second medevac with Widow Mine to the side. I apologize. This is a double drop on the right side because one of these medevacs had just 1 mine on the natural, right? So, apologies for that. But yeah, I mean, past 4 to 6 lives, you just need Tempest. There's just no realistic way you trade against that in, you know, by blinking in and trying to pick off those Liberators or anything. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't work like that. Not in the slightest. Fire and Seal, push the Zealot Stalkers back. Stalkers do pick up quite a few kills. I mean, this drop didn't do much. Hero's made a move across the map, though. Well, this is why you double expand his trap, because now you might not be able to fight up here because the Liberators are going to siege you, but you absolutely will be able to just go elsewhere. Liberator's been annoying now, picks up 8 workers. That's actually really nice, getting some workers on top of all of this. But the Zealots are back, and they're going to hit the 3rd base. They're going to hit the main, or at least they would have tried to, but the War Prism gets taken down. No Prism means no fun here, really. As the Zealots continue to charge around, see where they can go to. Bunker will clean out the Zealots, so the Zealot goes down, and the rest of these Liberators sieging up already. Big EMP on the Disruptors. Well, this is the difficulty part from Trappy. He's actually gone into Carriers. Now, Carriers build a lot slower than Tempest to begin with, so that's already something where it's like, is that really what you wanted here? This Nexus will go down. Mandavac's loading up, gonna go boosting into the main. The Liberators with that siege. I mean, really making life difficult, but this is going to be the real test, right? With the Carriers in play, I actually think because the rest of the army isn't going to be fighting with the Carriers, the Interceptors are just going to kind of melt here. So the first wave of the Carriers doesn't do much. Now the Vikings are going to get forward, and I think you're going to lose at least one of the Carriers right now. Before the Vikings go down, he's going to get 1, and then what? There's going to be basically no Interceptors left, so the second Carrier also going to die. At the same time, Kira's on the top right side of the map, where he's found a bunch of probes. He's going to find the Nexus. Nice force field to stop some of this army from getting away at least, but the question still remains, what the hell are you doing about this force in your main? The Liberators on siege, and they will be used to help fight off the Carrier. Another Carrier falls. It feels like Trap is taking so many losses. There's not really much else left here. The Liberators are going to try and mass siege. Stalkers will blink off to the side, and they will still be in range. Here leaves a few lives behind, gets a few out. On the counterattack, Trap is across the map. Now, there's actually no Liberators here defensively, so there's maybe something of a problem. Disruptors and Colossus here to help out. I say because of Colossus, I mean, there is just the one. Brings down initial orbital. Nice hit on the Ghost there. Going to find 2 more Ghosts with the next Disruptor. Final Disruptor shot there. Didn't do much else. And the next one dodged quite nicely. The Liberators and Medevacs are flying into this army. Secure's losing a lot, but the Vikings make their play forward, and they're going to get these Colossi pretty quickly as well before the Stalkers can clean up. And now there's not really the army to protect the Stalkers, so the Bio pushes out, and the Bio will chase those Stalkers down and will get pretty much everything. A few Stalkers get away. Now this carrier is still rallying across the map here. Secure is still building Vikings. He is not at the moment. He needs to be able to fight these carriers. He sees them on the way, so he pulls back to deal with this. It's just not really too much support for the carriers, right? And that's going to be the issue. You already see a few of these interceptors have gone down. The Trap knows it will not be enough. He types out the GG, and that is going to be our Terran player Cure taking the win. GG's. Nicely done. Cure with an awesome series here. Especially an awesome last game on Death Or. Played for the late game and made it work.